Well, my name is Jason JROCK Houston, and this interview is being done for Chaotic Riffs Magazine. And tonight we're speaking with Seek Irony lead singer Kfir Gov. Am I saying your name right?
It's Kfir Gov. Yeah, I know a lot of Americans have a little problem with that, but I'm getting used to it, so it's all good.
Okay.
It kind of goes like the word fear, just with a K at the beginning.
Oh, okay, fair. Okay, that's cool. Now is that your birth name you were given, or is that your stage name you came up for when you formed the band?
No, it's my birth name. It's actually our band is originally from Tel Aviv, Israel. Actually, Kfir is like a common name over there.
Oh, okay. Well, that's quite interesting. Yeah, I was reading up on you guys that you're originally from Israel, so I was going to ask you, how long were you? What year did you guys first form a band, and why did you decide to make the move from Israel to your current base of Austin, Texas?
Well, my brother and I actually started performing when we were teenagers. Like I was really young teenagers. First show that we did in a big city in Israel was when I was 15 years old and he was 10.
Oh wow!
First recording we did was about that time as well. And the band Seek Irony actually started right after I finished my military service in Israel, which was at the age of 21, like 6 years later.
Wow.
And we've been doing this since. In Israel we had like a whole different band with other members, and throughout the years we toured the U.S. independently twice. We also signed 2 record deals in the U.S. which didn't come through. We signed one management deal, and we also signed with a famous producer in California, recorded an album there. So basically we had a lot of things going on. As we were growing in Israel, we had a lot of things kind of drawing us to the U.S. market. And at some point we felt like, we need to move here and start a home base here in the U.S. so we could really, push things forward.
Yeah, and that makes sense, obviously. But how hard was it to leave, your homeland, where you've lived all your life, to come to a new country? I mean, it must be quite an adventure. I would.
Yeah, a lot of. I mean, for a lot of people, it seems like wow, and it is. I'm not, obviously it's a big step. But my brother and I and our family, we moved a lot when we were kids. I was actually born in Italy, and we lived in Israel, and then we lived in Germany, and then we moved back to Israel, and then we lived in France, and we moved back to Israel. So we were kind of used to it,
Also, you've seen the world, a lot of different countries and that at a young age, I guess, huh? Traveled all over.
Yeah. Well, I hated it as a child, moving around from one place to the other. But as I grew up, I obviously, really appreciated it. It gave me a really wide perspective, on cultures and different people in different countries, and accepting, every person just as they are,
So let me ask you, because I was going to say you speak pretty good English, and your accent's not that heavy. So did you learn how to speak English at a relatively young age?
Yeah, that's correct. When I did my first grade to the 4th grade in an American elementary school in Germany.
Oh wow!
So that's where I picked up my American English. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because you speak quite good now. I got to ask about the name of the band, Seek Irony. It's a cool sounding name, but and at the same time, quite original sounding name. How did you come up with that?
The original name of the band when we were kids was actually Sick Irony.
Oh, okay.
We played like thrash and progressive metal and stuff like that, influenced by Metallica and Dream Theater. And then we kind of developed more, grew more as musicians, and kind of wanted to find our own sound, and we found it in that electronica part that we felt made us more ourselves and what the irony is really about. And at some point we just we changed members, the whole sound of the band, and we felt like, okay, we're looking for a maybe more mature message, and we just decided to go for Seek Irony, the message is basically that the world has got a lot of twisted irony. So we kind of encourage people to seek between the lines and to really find
the true meaning, the truth. Yeah. Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Now, let me ask you. Being that you and your brother play in a band together, did you have other musicians in your family, or talk a little bit how you and him got into playing, becoming musicians.
Well, that's actually really odd because there was nobody in the family that was
a musical.
Our sisters play piano, but they learned for 10 years, but don't know how to play like basic songs. We had only one cousin that we looked up to that played the guitar and kind of inspired us. But my brother and I were just big Metallica fans when we were children.
So did you?
That is the main thing that inspired us.
And so did you start playing music first, and he kind of followed you, or did you guys start about the same time?
I guess I started studying the guitar about when I was like 12 years old. We have about 4 years between us. And my brother just wanted to be a drummer. Parents were pushing him towards the piano, and he hated it. And he would, at the age of 8, I remember him, just hitting everything, any pot in the house with sticks. At some point, they gave in and just rented a basic drum kit. And he started, I think, at like 8 and a half, and we started writing songs about a year later.
And so, you guys have a new album coming out, I guess. I was reading on the, next couple of weeks. Can you talk a little bit about the new album? Is this your first album you guys have put out, or have you had a couple albums released already?
Well, back home we released some singles and stuff. But this is like our first full length that we've been, writing and putting together for many years.
Okay.
And the former members who were part of our band in Israel and could not
come over here,
follow us to the U.S., they have a big contribution to this album. But the band right now is a new band with 3 local people, local Americans from here, musicians. We can go into them and describe them. They're all awesome.
Yeah. I was going to ask you next about that, because I was reading too that you and your brother basically left Israel and you head over to Texas. I guess that's the next logical question. Why Texas? Why was that?
Well, when we were here on tour years ago, we actually had a really successful show here in Texas in front of like 1,000 people,
wow.
Which was a big surprise. We had a really, really great show. We met a lot of people, made a lot of friends here, almost like a second family.
Okay.
And on the second time that we were here in the U.S., we had to screw up on schedule, and we ended up staying for a week in Austin with people we did not know. But they took us in, and they became like really good friends.
Oh, that's
and
good.
We kind of really love the city. We love the vibe. We love the people. Ironically, we did not even know it was a music town before we actually arrived here. And back in the day.
Yeah.
And we just fell in love, and we were like, one day when we moved to the U.S., we want to make Austin our home. But I know a lot of people think, oh yeah, you should go to L.A. or New York or Nashville.
No. Wherever you find comfortable, that's your home. I was just curious, why.
For us, it wasn't a matter of, it doesn't matter where the home base really is.
Yeah.
Because, we've been professional musicians for like over 10 years doing music for a living. So for us, it's not just about just the music. It's also about, living your life and building yourself, and because a lot of people don't realize, you move from one place and restart your life in every possible aspect. So, you're thinking about a lot of other things as well, except for only your own music career.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine these songs, you know, that are on this new album that you guys are going to be releasing. I imagine a lot of it was written in Israel, and then you know you come over here to, you know, United States. That's gotta, you know, that's gotta somehow, you know, get into the writing of the songs and affect, you know, what the songs are about.
I mean, the songs deal with a lot of things. Some of them are inspired by, you know, stuff that are really relevant maybe to Israel, but a lot of them are also relevant to just about anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, but it's cool. I mean, I think it's good to bring, you know, Israel is a part of us, so we bring it with us.
And
the message we have to bring, you know, with that.
Well, that's very interesting. Now, once you and your brother landed in Austin, I was curious, how did you guys go about finding the new members? Were these musicians you've known from before? Were they referred to you? Did you, you know, audition people?
No, completely no. Like, we came here clueless. We've been here before, but we didn't really know the city. We just started out by, you know, meeting the musicians community, going out to shows, meeting, you know, reaching out to people on Facebook and stuff like that. And you know, day by day, we kind of met another person. And Austin music community is awesome. It really opened, you know, doors for anybody that, you know, people appreciate, and that if they think that, you know, you're talented and you have something to contribute, then they take you in. And the first one that we found was Alex Campbell, our guitar player, who is local here in Austin. But the funny thing is that we were looking for a guitar player, and we were just blasting a lot of people that, you know, we were talking to on social media and so on. And one of them was Alex. And Alex was like, my brother was doing that, and he was asking him, "Hey, do you know a guitar player that, you know, may be interested in so and so on?" And Alex was like, "Hey, give me a call." And on his Facebook, it said that he lives in Boston, because later we found out that he was at Berkeley, and he just finished his last year at Berkeley and was returning to Austin. But my brother was like, "Hey, you're in Boston. Why would I call you? It doesn't make sense."
Yeah.
It doesn't help me that you're in Boston.
Yeah.
But Alex actually reached out a few more times and was like, "Hey, man, you know, why did you call me?" And then my brother was asking him, "But wait, you're in Boston?" And he says, "Oh, no. Actually, I just finished Berkeley. I'm back in Austin. Austin is my hometown." And then we connected and everything. It was, you know, just great. Alex is a great guitar player.
So, like, as far as
he was actually just now nominated for his like third nomination for Grammy as an educator. So.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Now, so once you guys brought Alex into the picture and met him, you know, did he come down with some of his own music? Was it a process of him learning your material? And what was the point, you know, where you said, "Okay, I think this is the guy we're looking for"?
Well, first of all, you know, just looking at some of his videos, it was obvious that he's super, you know, overqualified.
Yeah.
He's an amazing guitar player. He was already, he worked already as a hired gun, playing, you know, with Lady Gaga on tour. And,
oh wow! Yeah, that says it right there. Yeah.
And Anthrax.
Oh wow.
3-6 Mafia. So, and we kind of caught him at the right time, where he was kind of looking for his own project. He got tired of being a hired gun. And, you know, so we even before we met up, for us, it was obvious that he fits, you know, music, that he will be a great guitar player. But we wanted, you know, the first time we met up, the first 2 times, we weren't even, you know, playing music. We were just getting to know each other, see, like, you know, if we got chemistry as people. And then, like, first rehearsal, he learned, I think, in 10 days, like, about 7 songs. So
wow.
He was pretty much on. So we knew, you know, that he's awesome and that it would be great. But for the question, yeah, for this album, most of the writing was done with the former band members.
Oh, that's cool. So everybody was kind of old band and a new band kind of everybody's allowed to kind of come in and put their influence on things. That's cool.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah. And so I was curious now. Now you mentioned that you also play guitar. Do you play guitar in the band, or do you let Alex handle all the guitar?
No. I play guitar, but I use it mainly for writing purposes. It's very rare that I perform with a guitar, just because I believe that I prefer the frontman, the Axl Rose type frontman.
I hear you.
Than being the James Hetfield one.
Yeah.
You're stuck to your guitar and you can't really move or engage with the audience. So I leave all that stuff to Alex.
That's cool. Yeah, that frees you up. Now I was curious. Did you start out specifically as a guitar player, or were you always a singer as well?
No, I actually did start. Just like you said, I started out as a guitar player. I planned on being a guitar player. I was one of those kids, sitting 8 hours a day practicing, all the keys and all that stuff. And I was looking for a singer, and I just didn't find a good singer. So I started singing myself, and I was bad at it at the beginning. I was kind of, at some point I realized, hey, we started playing shows, and I was singing because I couldn't find somebody who was singing better.
Yeah.
And then I ended up deciding, okay, well, if I'm going to sing, I better go and learn how to sing. So I went to like an opera coach when I was 15, 16.
Wow.
And I started singing some more and focusing less on the guitar. And as we played more and more shows, I found that, it makes more sense to be a frontman singer without a guitar. And then I went to the Academy of Music in Israel, and I had a jazz coach for singing. So I really developed, as a singer. And today, for me, it's,
Well, you're kind of what I call them, like kind of a more natural singer, as far as you've really honed your craft down and focus.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, and that's totally a cool thing, because a lot of people don't start out singers like Dave. I've heard Dave Mustaine from Megadeth saying he was originally just a guitar player, and then like you, he was looking for a singer, and he's like, I couldn't find anybody that I thought could sing my songs as good as me, and he was kind of forced into it. But look at look what a superstar that guy became.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned Mustaine, because when I started out singing, I was horrible. Mustaine was like an influence. Jim Hetfield was an influence. So that those were my influences starting out singing. And as I grew as a musician, I started listening to other kind of singers like Maynard from Tool or like Lejeune from Seven Dust, and that kind of developed me to a whole different area, and then I would listen to all kinds of other stuff, and then I found myself eventually. For me, it was a process of starting out trying to sound like other people, realizing that that's not going to lead me anywhere, and then kind of perfecting my craft and finding myself and my identity as a singer, trying not to sound like anybody else.
Because I gotta tell you, I never heard of your band before until your publicist contacted me about setting up this interview, and I went on the website, listened to some of your tracks, and what I really dug the most about the band sound is, most of the time you listen to something, you say, it sounds like Aerosmith or Metallica or whatever, but in listening to your guys' stuff, I must say it's got like a real, fresh, original sound. I can't really, pin it down and say, okay, you sound like this band or this band. What I really dug about the stuff is there's a real original, fresh sound. It doesn't sound like you're trying to clone anybody else. Was that something you guys set out to do when you formed this band?
Yeah, completely. And you just gave us like the best compliment you could ever give us. Yeah. I appreciate that very much. I mean, I don't care if people, some people will like it, some people will hate it. Everybody, is entitled to their opinion. But, that's a taste. You know, you don't argue about taste.
Yeah,
but you're right. You know, like that was like what we were shooting for. We're trying to build. You know, we're trying to sound like Seek Irony. You know, all the great bands throughout history. Even if they put out a new song and you hear it on the radio and you've never heard the song before, you just know that that's the band. You know, and if it's not the band, then you're saying, oh, they're a clone of that band. You know?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of bands their influences come oozing out of their music, and that's great, and everything. But then the other bands, they definitely got their own sound. I mean, you put on, for example, Metallica and a Slayer record. They've definitely got their own, their own different approach to what they do.
Yeah. So for us, it was really about finding, you know, what is special about, you know, Seek Irony, and you know, like you said, like you know, you've never heard of us before. We were 10 years growing, you know, in a different market, which is detached from the world. So for us, it may seem like okay, this is our first record here, but you know, it was a 10-year process of developing and learning the craft and writing, you know, 100 songs and you know, really finding what Seek Irony is about and our identity as a band.
Yeah. So let me ask you on that note. This new album's coming out. Are any of those old songs that you guys, originated and made famous in Israel back in the day on this album, or is this all fresh, newly written material?
No. It's actually this album is part of, like I said, like years of growth. Some songs are newer, some songs are older, but I would say like these are songs that were written over the last 4 years or so.
Oh man, that's cool. Now, have you noticed, and people that have been that you've allowed to listen to stuff, have you seen any difference as far as the way people react, like in Israel versus the United States?
I think like we knew all along that the U.S. market is probably the most, you know, because in Israel, English is not the first language, obviously.
Yeah.
Hebrew is. So when we started out and we were singing in English, for me it was really natural writing in English. I don't know why. Maybe because I grew up, you know,
all around the world, basically,
learning English and abroad and so on, and listening to American culture music. But for other people in Israel, like, you know, the industry in Israel, everybody was like, why are you singing in English? You know, nobody wanted to write about us. Nobody wanted to help us. Everybody was like closing, you know, like, why sing in English? You know, you're Israelis. and it's funny because when we started out, I could count on one hand how many bands were singing in English in Israel.
Wow.
Today you have hundreds of those because bands like us and bands like a friend of ours who signed with labels in Germany or in Japan or in the U.S. And then once, you know, that happened, then the press kind of followed and wrote about it, and radio started opening stuff because they realized, like, you know, something's going on here, and we were drawing more kids to shows than some of the big Israeli artists, so they had to open up, you know, at some point.
Yeah, and you know, on the reverse, I got to ask, once, you know, you're concentrating right now in the U.S., obviously, and you're getting ready to release this new album, but once the album drops, are there any plans to go back home and play any shows, you know, for the original fans there?
Well, maybe sometime in the future. Right now, we're really focused on making things happen here. We built a new life here. I used to own I'm also a music producer, so I used to own one of the leading recording studios in Israel.
Oh, wow.
And I produced a lot of bands in Israel, and also some stuff abroad. And now I pretty much moved my studio to Austin, and we're restarting, you know, the band's business. We're starting the studio's business. It's a big challenge. So I think at least for the next 2 years, we'll be focused on, you know, really grinding in the U.S. and building it up and getting Seek Irony out there.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, being that you're a singer, I was curious. Are you a principal songwriter in the band?
Yes, yeah. Well, music is a collaboration.
Yeah, of course.
You know, some songs are more electronica driven, so you know that comes from that side of the band, like Mikhail, who is the DJ and the electronica guy, or some songs are more guitar oriented, so that would be more, you know, Alex or me.
Yeah.
But all the lyrics, I personally write. I write all the melodies and all that stuff, like the basic songwriting.
Yeah. And as far as the recording, like when you recorded this album, did you guys do kind of the modern way where everybody records their parts separately and you piece everything together, or did you record it like as a live band?
No, well, our way usually is usually start off by writing the basic song. You know, start off from really, you know, either with an acoustic or a piano and vocals, or like with an electronica line and vocals, and then we kind of build it from there. And so it's really, it's not a natural process where you sit and you kind of groove together in a rehearsal space and kind of figure out the songs. It's more like a production. Like we sit in the studio, we try different things. We record basic drums, then we, you know, go in, do the rest of the stuff, and then maybe we go back and re-record the drums because now it feels different. And so we're really, like, our process of writing is not like a live band sitting in a room together.
Okay.
It's more like production, you know, just writing a certain riff, writing a melody on it, writing chords, then kind of, okay, now we got a guide, let's record the drums, then let's bring electronica stuff, okay, maybe now we need to change the drums because this beat is actually cooler.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like that process.
And do you guys have a label you sign with, or are you releasing the album on your own?
No, we're releasing it right now on our own. We're open to the idea of, you know, of bringing a label when the time is right. We feel like, I mean, back home in Israel, there is no real label locally that, you know, we're signing with.
Yeah.
So we're used to being independent. We're used to building our, you know, our street teams and our audience, and we own our own studios.
Yeah.
We record everything, you know, by ourselves. This album was mixed actually by a really awesome mixer up in Canada called Phil Anderson.
Okay.
He mixed this album for us, and it was mastered in LA by Mo Applebaum, who does a lot of big stuff, like the last Take No More single and anything, you know. But he's a really good friend of mine since we were kids. He's from Israel originally too, but moved to LA about like 6 years ago or something like that.
Wow, that's totally cool.
Yeah, so we basically, you know, we're used to doing everything ourselves. But if a label comes in and, you know, and really believes in what we're doing and can help us bring it to a higher level, then we're, you know.
And I mean, that's really the only reason to me to really get with a label, and, you know, you have a little more funding to work with. But the great thing about doing it independently is, you know, you don't necessarily have a guy in a suit telling you, don't hear a single, go back and write me something more commercial, or, you know, you kind of have the freedom to write the way you want to write.
I don't think that would happen anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like in a label, like in our case, because, you know, at this point, a label would pick us because they love what we do.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't come back to, like, they wouldn't sign us, and then after we do everything ourselves and we do it at the highest standard and everything, I don't think they'll come back to us and say, oh, write me a pop song, you know?
Yeah, and the cool thing too about being independent is, you know, when the album's released and it's a hit, if everybody loves it, you know, you guys reap all the rewards. Whereas if you had a label behind you, you know, you have to split the profits. So, you know, I really think that's.
No, you're completely right about that, and I'm totally for being independent. That's what we're doing. I'm just the only, like, the place where the label comes in, I think, is like if you've done it, you brought it to a certain place, and you can't make it bigger by have, that they've built through years and years, then it makes sense, to bring in a label. I don't think that before that it really makes sense.
Yeah, 'cause I gotta say, even the people handling your guys' PR, I've been working with them for the last 2 or 3 years, and they're very professional in what they do. And so on that level, I got to ask you, do you have any specific tour plans at this point, or is it a matter of seeing how the album does once it comes out?
Well, right now we have a few shows, CD releases planned in different markets in Texas. So our CD release in Austin is going to be February 5th.
Okay.
It's at a club called Red 7. We actually already, we're 2 weeks before the show, and we already sold out all our physical pre-sale tickets.
Wow.
So, which is amazing. Like, we did not expect this reaction. So
Wow,
it's really great.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That means that the show will be packed and it'll be awesome, and we'll probably, shoot a video and everything, and, to build that up. But we have a few other markets that we've been playing at throughout the last year since we moved here, like San Angelo in Texas and San Antonio. So we'll be doing like these kind of CD releases in every market, and kind of, build the hype, over the CD release itself. And then we have South by coming up in March. So we're already confirmed to play Texas Rock Fest at South by.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be a good show.
That's a pretty big deal.
It's like an outdoor
festival
stage with 1,500 capacity. It's going to be really, really cool. And after that, we plan on, hitting up like a tour.
And any chance that Texas Festival is going to be probably one of the bigger shows you've done, right?
What are you saying?
But the Texas show, the festival in Texas, I imagine that'll be one of the bigger shows you've ever done, right?
No, we've played bigger shows in Israel. We've played some festivals in Israel in front of like 10,000 people.
Oh, wow. Oh, so you guys are off to...
But it'll be the biggest show that we'll play here so far.
Well, you guys are off to the races, as they say. So, at these CD releases, people actually be able to come and see the band play, and obviously, I imagine you have physical copies for people to buy at these shows?
Yeah. We actually, what we decided to do is we decided that people buy the album with the price of the ticket.
Oh, that's...
They buy a ticket, they get an album at the door.
That's a very cool thing. I like that. Yeah.
For us, it was a cool way, to give all our fans who come to the show and support the album right at the door. We're going to do this at all these CD release shows. And it's also a way for us, to really sell a big pile of albums really quick. So hopefully, these days you don't need to sell a lot to get on billboards.
And then hopefully, you do that.
What we're trying to shoot for.
And hopefully you do that, something like that, and the word of mouth will get around. People say, oh, I went to see these guys, got a free CD, man, the CD rocks, and hopefully, other people will go and buy the CD.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't believe in the idea that music needs to be free or something like that.
Yeah.
But I also understand, the way that the world is right now, and for me, I don't care that people will go and, rip it and everything, and, people like in Russia or China, they'll never buy the record. They don't even have a way to buy it. Legally. So I want those people, to share it and spread it and everything, so it'll spread like fire.
And I got to tell you, a really cool thing about that is, another band that kind of did something like that a couple of years back was Tesla. They put out like a double CD. It was like a cover album, and they released the first album where people could go get it at Best Buy and in all the stores. But if you wanted to get the second album, you had to go see the band live. And kind of like what you're saying, everybody walked in with a ticket, paying ticket. They got a free CD. So it was kind of a special little thing that you couldn't get in the store. So I thought, stuff like that is really cool because, again, like you said, people, these people are coming to your shows because they want to check out the band, and it's a great way to say thank you, and here's something free, and thanks for paying to come see our show tonight. I think it's a great thing, and really more bands should do something like that because it's, again, you're working musicians, you want to make money, but the fact that people pay to come see the show, it's nice that you're giving them something free, a little souvenir.
Yeah, and we think really that, for us, as you said, working musicians, it's more about the live show. That's why our live show has like a full automated lighting show with the music, and we have female dancers in costumes. We put on a show. So we want to give out the album. We want the music to spread. Then people will come to shows, and that's how we'll be paying our bills. So
Yeah, and for people who maybe can't make it out to these live shows, get a free CD. I was curious, is the album going to, be available in a lot of stores, or pretty much if they want it, they'll have to get it through your website?
Right now, you can pre-order you can already pre-order the album through our website, through our online store. We will put it up for online distribution, all the iTunes, Spotify, all those things.
Oh, cool.
And as for physical distribution, we will see. We're already kind of talking with some labels, so I don't know. We'll see how things go. We really want to test the waters, see how things go, and then decide from there.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody wants a physical album, he can get it through our website, and we will get it.
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing with that fear is, I'm a rabid music fan, and a lot of stuff, unless it's like Michael Jackson or even Bon Jovi or Guns N' Roses, you can't even get it to the local Best Buy. A lot of stuff you have to get through Amazon.com. And the thing with me is, somebody's a big enough fan, or if they want an album bad enough, they'll go to whatever website or whatever store they have to get it. So, again, I think
exactly. You're right, and when you buy directly when a fan buys an album directly from the band makes the most money on the album. So that's the best support instead of going and buying it through a third party where eventually the band gets a little piece of it.
Yeah, and I was curious on those digital sites like iTunes and stuff. When somebody buys, your music digitally, of course, they get the product right away. That's part of the satisfaction. But how long does it take you guys to get that money coming in, like from iTunes?
How much time does it take?
Well, the
rewards, the money,
Yeah. Like, does it take you a month or two till you start seeing any of the?
I think 2 or 3 months. I think that's like a quarter usually.
Oh, okay. Well, Fear, it's been great talking to you. Now, before I let you go, because I know you're a couple hours ahead of time, you're there in Texas, I'm here in Los Angeles. Is there anything else you'd like to say to all your fans?
I just want to say thank you all for the support. Thank you for this interview. Keep spreading the word. And, we appreciate everybody who's helping out. Just tell all your friends about what we're doing. And we hope that the more the word spreads, it's easier for us to come out and tour and play the hometowns. I want to just give a shout out to our former band members back home who have contributed a lot to this album too. I'll mention also, we mentioned Alex, the guitar player. We mentioned Mikhail, our DJ. We mentioned Rom and myself, but there's also our bass player, Adam, who is an amazing guy and amazing bass player, and he also plays a really, really cool Misa tri-bass guitar. You can check it out in videos and stuff that we're doing.
Okay.
And look out for a new video coming out soon for the song Dribble and Me.
Oh, we will do that, and my friend, once I get a chance to really listen to the full album, I'd like to do this again. That way we could talk more specifically about the album and the songs. But it's really been great talking to you. You got quite the story to tell. So I hope people check out the band, and this interview will be going up probably in early February. So check it out when it does. So thanks so much again, and best of luck to you and the guys with the new album.
Thank you so much. And we'll catch up later.
Okay, take care. Bye. Good night.